Zombies. Cold, gray, lifeless, suit-wearing drones that stomp forward regardless of what happens to them, all to achieve their ultimate goal. You know, when you break it down like that, kind of sound like EA executives, don't they? Hello, I am Goose, and today I'm going to be reviewing a game that I'm quite fond of, Plants vs. Zombies. But you probably knew by now. You can read and see, can't you? If you can't read or see, I'm sorry, you're cool regardless. This game was on par with Angry Birds in its prime, which was a titan in the early 2010s. Even now, this curious tower defense game is still popular with a cult following, despite its unfortunate undertaking by EA, which proceeded to drastically alter the franchise for the worse. But I'm not here to bash EA, I'm here to review this game they obtained. This game is definitely a little gem. However, no game is without flaws, and I have a few issues with some aspects of this game that, once pointed out, cannot be ignored. I should let you know that I'm reviewing the PC version of Plants vs. Zombies, but there are also several different versions, such as one for the DS, the phone, and the Xbox, each with their own unique additions to the game. So if you want to check out those for yourself, do it, I guess. Alright, let's break down how I feel about Plants vs. Zombies. If you're any kind of familiar with this game, you'll know that this section is going to be very short. There's not a lot of story to work off of. I mean, let's be honest. Not many stories with zombies as the main point of conflict have a very interesting plot to begin with. Anyways, the story goes like this. Defend your brain from zombies. Cause of the reanimation of said corpses? No reason given. There's also your nutjob neighbor named Crazy Dave. Reason for his outlandish behavior? No reason given. Explanation as to why the plants have eyes, or why they can target zombies automatically? No really reason for that either. Nothing matters. There's not much story to work off of in this game, but then again, do people really play tower defense games for the story? That being said, if you play games for the plot over the gameplay, first off, what's wrong with you? And secondly, you're probably going to be disappointed. Not me, I don't care too much about the story if the game's fun. But is the game fun? Well, the gameplay of Plants vs. Zombies is one of the most unique of any tower defense games I've played yet. And I've played a friggin' lot. Like Bloons. And some other Flash games. Okay, so not as many as I thought, but despite that, this game is fire. I'll summarize the gameplay for you. Zombies come in from right to left. If they reach your doorstep, it's game over. But wait! You can defend yourself by planting one of the 49 plants in this 5x9 tile board, each one with their own strengths and weaknesses. Each different level calls for a certain type of plant, whether it be offensive, defensive, explosive, or whatever else. This is because they give every plant a specific counter. Certain plants can't break through a zombie's defense, and that's what this other plant is for. But neither of those can hit this one. But that's what this one is for. And this is the case for almost every plant. But some of them are kind of worthless, and depending on the level, you can use the plants to exploit them for an easy win. And it's mostly this guy's fault. This game isn't ridiculously hard, but it isn't super easy either, so if you barge in not knowing what you're doing by the late game, you're gonna be in for some trouble. But the fact that they made this little bastard recharge fast, be completely free, and get unlocked super early in the game, he can be abused to exploit almost every level, whether it be completing a level with only puff shrooms, or using him in combination with other plants to permanently freeze certain dangerous zombies. It's no wonder that this game can get easy sometimes. However, at the same time, the randomness of zombies can frequently force you to restart almost immediately due to a very powerful zombie getting spawned right at the start of the level. Even though this situation is rare, due to how many times I've played this game, it's happened enough times to point out. So be warned of that if you're going to play this game endlessly like I have. There are 3 different stages, with the first 2 having a day and night version, each one having their own implications on what plants are best for it. But it doesn't limit your potential choices for plants in the levels as much as you might think. There are countless different strategies that can be used for every level. And if you're especially bored, you can use a strategy that would purposefully challenge yourself and make the game harder for you. Thus, the countless YouTube challenge videos. Beating Plants vs. Zombies with no sunflowers, beating it with no mushrooms, beating it without planting in the pool, beating it without planting on the lawn, beating it without catapults, only planting in the first 2 columns. Really, anything you can think of has probably been recorded and uploaded en masse.
My God, Sam! You said en masse!
And I think it's a testament to how fun the game is, the fact that people can play this game this many times and still want to continue challenging themselves. It's perfect proof of this game's near infinite replayability. Despite this game being about 12 hours to finish 100%, it can be played for hundreds of hours while still having fun. Well, I mean, I had fun. Now then, time to nitpick. I have 2 major complaints with Plants vs. Zombies. First and foremost, the game is so slow. Like, painfully slow. And this gets especially noticeable if you play the game after beating it for the first time. Coming back to the game, you're probably going to notice that the majority of this game will be you starting a level, planting something, and then waiting for one of the zombies to either die or run into it. Sure, it gets interesting about halfway through the level when zombies start pouring in like it's DayZ, but I want a game to be able to catch my attention from the very beginning and keep me interested the whole way through. Ironically, in the unfortunate mess of a sequel to this game, they did include a fast forward button, which solves this issue entirely. It's just in the wrong game for this review. Secondly, this game is missing a very basic mode that a lot of tower defense games usually have, a sandbox mode. For people that might not know, a sandbox mode is where they give you infinite money and no real way to die. And they also allow you to spawn whatever enemies you want, which gives you the ability to test out different strategies against different waves of enemies, to help you practice. I think it would have been neat to have an entire separate mode where you can just screw around and make your dream lawns that you might not ever be able to come up with in regular gameplay. It doesn't even seem like it would have been that difficult to add at the time. Just give the player infinite sun and make them invincible, and make it so that they can spawn whatever zombies they like. I really don't get why sandbox mode isn't in here anywhere. The closest thing the game has to a sandbox mode is the last stand mode, since you can plant stuff instantly. But you still have to worry about losing, and you can't choose a challenge, and you don't have infinite money. So it's barely relatable to a sandbox. I don't know why I made that comparison in the first place. You'd think it would make sense to have it, but whatever. I guess 2009 PopCap was wildin'. This section won't take too long. Plants vs. Zombies is a game simply brimming with creativity. Throughout this game, there's just so much clever imagery and charming design choices, like the flavor text and the gravestones, the charming style of both plants and zombies, and just the way things are animated in general. The art and animation of Plants vs. Zombies has a very specific feeling, like the feeling of a computer game that was made when computer games were still not super polished. While I do like the charming, primitive style of Plants vs. Zombies, there are some designs that my artistic eyeballs do not agree with very much. Some of the plants look creepy and unappealing, and that's surprising because most of the zombies look fine. Although there are some outliers. This is a rare occasion, but I've gotta compliment Plants vs. Zombies 2 for its improvement on the art style. I'll show you some specific comparisons, but the difference is usually night and day between some of these. But that is the only compliment I'm giving Plants vs. Zombies 2. Other than the fast forward function. And the time travel idea. And all the cool new plants. Man, the sequel had so much potential. Whatever, let's move on before I get any more grumpy about that waste of a sequel. The music in Plants vs. Zombies is kind of subtle, and I know it might not be for everyone. There's a unique song for every area, including a few extra tracks for bonuses and minigames and stuff. The OST isn't too big, but the songs are long and dynamic to compensate. By dynamic, I mean the music will change depending on what part of the level you're in, which is always cool. Man, I feel like I'm repeating myself in these videos now. We have Laura Shigihara to thank for this sick soundtrack, in which she sings one of the songs. I won't spoil which one though. Basically, these songs are great. I get them stuck in my head constantly, and most of them are bangers. Wait, bangers are usually intense, aren't they? Whatever you'd call a soft banger. That's what these are. Well done, Laura. In terms of sound design, this game's good. All of the sounds are so satisfying. The sounds of giant peas hitting the rotten flesh of the zombies. The sound of butter hitting a head. Crazy Dave's incessant ramblings. The sound of collecting coins or a gem. The sounds of traffic cones and buckets getting pelted by cabbage. The groans of zombies, which can be funny sometimes. And finally, the best sound effect in this game by far, the sound of a zombie getting frozen. What a beautiful sound. When thinking about when I was having the most fun during this game, I decided that it was, surprisingly, during the most stressful points in the game. When a game can be turned as boringly easy as simply choosing one overpowered character for your team, finding yourself in situations that actually have you involved in the gameplay is invigorating. For a specific answer, the survival modes can result in some hair-raising content if you don't know what you're doing. Like me most of the time. Plants vs. Zombies is quite the double-edged sword in terms of having fun with it. On one hand, it has unique gameplay, replayability, nice music, and a charming art style. However, it's sluggish, shallow in terms of the plot, lacking a sandbox mode, has RNG that can't be ignored sometimes, and EA. However, the positives greatly outweigh the negatives in this scenario. It might be my nostalgia talking, but this game is near perfection, despite its flaws. I even had to make the flaws out to be ginormous, but they're not even that bad. Just super nitpicky. And the fact that I even have to be super nitpicky and exaggerate the small issues in the first place to make this review any sort of interesting is just proof that this game means business when it comes to just general fun. I give Plants vs. Zombies 2
8 out of 10.
If you haven't played this yet, what are you, out of your mind? Anyways, that's how I feel about Plants vs. Zombies 2. Oh, you noticed my video? Thanks, I made it myself. Why not subscribe to see more stuff I might make? You don't know what I'll do. I don't know what I'll do. This video is kind of paced differently from my other reviews. A lot faster paced. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Give me some feedback in the comments on how you feel about this new style. Depending on the answers, I might change things up a little bit. Anyways, tell me how you feel about Plants vs. Zombies in the comments, and bully EA there as well. Well, that's about all from me. So, my name is Goose, and I thank you very much for watching. Now go away!